West Ham fan will know. But let's have a word with Tottenham fan Chris Cowlin. You must be breathing a sigh of relief.
Absolutely. Good evening to you, by the way. A huge sigh of relief and, feeling good about it. But, of course, this has been a very, very tough and difficult season for us all. 3 managers this campaign, 4 managers in the last 12 months. This football club should never, ever be 17th, and we've now finished 17th in the last couple of seasons, which simply isn't good enough. But it was great to go over the line today. It was in our hands, and I'm so glad that Roberto De Zerbi wanted it to be this way, where we weren't relying on the West Ham United result. And I must say a big thank you to Roberto De Zerbi, because before he come in, quite honestly, none of us Spurs fans knew where the next point was coming from under Thomas Frank and Igor Tudor. And Roberto De Zerbi, although we have so many injuries, he has instilled belief, energy into this group, and he has given positivity also to the fan base.
Chris, hold that thought, because we're going to bring in Louis Nixon, who is a West Ham United fan. And Louis, commiserations, but it wasn't looking great for quite a while before today, was it?
Sadly, it wasn't. It's been a very, very tough season. I think there's many, many moments you can pinpoint to determine where things went wrong or where we had the upper hand. And there's so many moments. And even with the 3-0 win today, it's a very tough feeling.
You are literally just outside the London Stadium still. What's the atmosphere been like there?
The atmosphere is quite sad, but it's surprisingly not unexpected. That relegation is a possibility, but I do think this feeling has been something that's resonated within people for quite a while now, within many fans. It has always been the idea that we are likely to go down.
Do you think Nuno should stay, your manager?
Whether that is the decision is his choice entirely.
And I'm guessing you're also worried about losing some of your best players. Jared Bowen is the one who really springs to mind.
Of course, I spoke earlier on and spoke about our financial implications that we dropped into the Championship. Obviously, wages are reduced, income is minimal, and we'll likely have to sell some of the top players: Jared Bowen, Mateus Fernandes, Malik Djouf, Panos. The list goes on.
Chris, back to you as a Spurs fan. I mean, Spurs need to strengthen, and you would expect that Roberto De Zerbi will be backed. He wouldn't have come otherwise, would he, really? He would have said, I'll come if I keep you up. You've got to back me in the transfer market. Would you take any of those West Ham players? They'd have to go too far if they want to play for Spurs.
I won't rub it in too much. I'll tell you what, fair play to Louis for coming on. But going back to your point about Roberto De Zerbi, he needs to be backed in the next transfer window. This transfer window is absolutely vital for this football club to put us back in the position where we belong, and that is in the Champions League spots. I could be sitting here talking to you about Spurs, getting into Europe, not about fighting relegation. And that isn't me being arrogant at all. This is exactly why we built this stadium. This is exactly why we have the training facilities that we have. But I'll go back to the point that, what Pochettino raised in 2019, we've got this amazing mansion, but we need the furniture to put in it. And that's exactly the problem that we've had in previous transfer windows. So the club, in my opinion, the board, the owners, they need to show real ambition this coming summer to put Spurs back where they belong.
Yes, you're absolutely right. We could have been talking about you playing Bolton, because they have been promoted to the Championship today at the expense of Stockport County. But you're absolutely right. Absolutely right, Chris, because it's not that long ago you were in the Champions League final. Mauricio Pochettino got you there. I think there were a couple of seasons where Spurs were the best team across 2 seasons because of their consistency. But Kane goes and Son goes. Maddison's been injured this season. Where are the big characters?
Well, this is it. This is exactly it. When was the last time we signed a world-class player? When was the last time that people were excited about some of the players that we've had here? So this is exactly it. A big transfer window has to happen this coming summer. Recruitment needs to be top-notch, and back the manager and put us back where we belong, like I said. But every single time a top player has left, sadly, we have had a player come in which has been a downgrade, and I mean that with respect. But the squad needs vast improvement, and you're not going to be in those top spots with poor recruitment. And yes, we've had a lot of injury problems as well. this campaign and last. So that is certainly another area that does need to be looked at. But I think at the moment it's fair to say there are so many issues at the football club. But today we've got over the line Roberto De Zerbi. He was brought in to get Spurs over the line so we remain in the Premier League. That's happened. And now it is get to work and make sure all of these things are improved for the next season, because we can't be finishing 17th year in, year out.
Well, we'll come back to that in a second. Louis, back to you. Will you still be going to the London Stadium next year to watch West Ham play the likes of Wrexham and Bolton and all those Championship sides?
Of course, I think as a fan, relegation is part of football, and West Ham aren't exactly the type of club to be challenging top four all of the time, the Champions League and European football. We have faced relegation before. This isn't the first time. It's very tough to take as a fan. It's difficult. At the end of the day, you want to be in the Premier League. It's the pinnacle of English football. But that unfortunately isn't reality. I think a lot of season ticket holders won't renew, but personally I will be.
But Louis, let me come back on that, because when you look at the tables of the biggest clubs in the world in terms of revenue, and also those tables showing how much has been spent on signings, West Ham are often quite high up that table. The investment has been made, may not have been made correctly, but it's been made nonetheless. The revenue is there. A Premier League club in London is going to do that. So really, being in the Championship is way below the expected standard, isn't it?
Certainly way below the expected standard. I mean, we have spent money, there's no denying that for sure. It's more, I think, the big question that's been raised is money hasn't been spent correctly. Money hasn't been right, and realistically, Nuno walked into a squad that he wasn't really exactly happy with, wasn't a squad that he was content with. We made January reinforcements, we did spend, we did also sell quite a lot in January. Today the expenditure hasn't been good enough, and that's why we're down.
Chris, back to you for the final question. How excited are you about staying in the Premier League next season to play a North London derby against the Premier League champions, Chris?
I'm certainly glad that we are a Premier League team, and as I said before, Spurs need to get back to where we belong, and that is challenging for.
You don't want to say so, I can tell.
Well, it is what it is. What do you want me to say? I'm not going to sit here congratulating what they've done. We can talk about VAR and decisions, throughout the campaign, and Arteta running down the touchline. But we're here to talk about Tottenham survival, and I'm so glad that we are a Premier League team. And like I said, it's about ambition now to competing with the very best in the Premier League.
You recognise, Chris, I was just being mischievous, because isn't that what football is all about, the rivalry? I appreciate you joining me to talk about it. Louis, thanks to you as well. Commiserations to you, and congratulations, Chris, to you and all the Spurs fans as well. You're watching Sky News. We'll be back with more after this.